Welcome back, Starseeds, to another video on Starseed Academy. My name is Jenny. So today we're going to be adding on to the Beyond series. It's a series here on this channel where we go beyond the typical New Age teachings. We're going beyond a lot of labels and terms to the deeper truth, which is usually some kind of multi-dimensional quantum truth underneath. So I've been asking you guys for ideas for this Beyond series because so far we've gone beyond beliefs, beyond manifestation, and beyond time. And so this video idea was Whitney's request. So thank you so much, Whitney, to go beyond conspiracy theories. I love this idea. So before we dive in, I just want to remind you to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for new videos every Sunday and Wednesday. Also, there's a brand new membership that just opened up. Check it out in the links below. It's such an awesome place to be. Okay, so the term conspiracy theorist, what is that person? Who created that? Who does that entail? So it was actually coined by the CIA after the Kennedy murder. Apparently, there were a substantial amount of people at that time that were questioning the narrative that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone in this and that he was the killer. Didn't sit right with people. Still doesn't sit right with people. I mean, there's definitely more to the story there that hasn't been released. That's where this began. So when was that? In the 50s? I don't know. Maybe not that long ago. So that's really when this term conspiracy theorist took off. They coined that term and used it as a derogatory term or an insult to people who would not buy into the main narrative, the story that they were spinning, the mainstream, right? Because they needed everybody to buy into that for them to get away with whatever they were getting away with. But this term really ramped up again after 9/11 because so many people, again, did the research or came across information and facts where things just weren't adding up. And then we have all of these documentaries and different things about how, 9/11 did not happen the way that the mainstream wants to tell it, and that there's much more going on underneath the surface. So what is a conspiracy theorist then? What does that term mean to you? Because to me, it means someone who doesn't easily or blindly just accept that narrative that we've been talking about. Either mainstream media or the news or politics or whatever, whatever the main story is, knowing that there's always more underneath. So not just accepting what's being told for you to digest and swallow, but thinking for yourself. And that would include doing research, figuring things out, putting things together for yourself and all of that. But honestly, that to me just sounds like a free thinker then, not a conspiracy theorist. But anyone who questions the narrative is kind of being blanketed or under the umbrella of the conspiracy theorist. But truthfully, there's a spectrum. It's not everyone, right? So basically, if you question the narrative, you'll probably be called that, but you might just be a free thinker. Someone who thinks for themselves, who is logical, who isn't gullible, who can put things together, who can see beyond. The series Beyond. Who can really truly see, though, beyond what they're being fed, and also an empath. You empaths, us empaths out there, we can feel, we literally feel when something's off. Ooh, that doesn't sit right with me. Trust that. Oh my God. That is going to be right way more of the time than anything else. So always trust your feeling and your clear sentience. That's what that is. Clear feeling. That's an empath. And it's a psychic gift. So many people have it, especially starseeds. We are such feelers, we feel everything. So I wanted to bring up the very controversial Q, okay, or QAnons. So this is a group of people that have actually now been banned. You can't You can't talk about being a part of that, following that, hashtag it, anything. It's all gone, been wiped out, right? Why? Good question. So that movement is conspiracy theorists. That's what people would say. But within that movement is the entire spectrum, going from free thinkers all the way to extremists. So what's an extremist? Now that we've talked about what a free thinker is, what is an extremist? Extremists have like a cult-like attitude, which by that I mean that they are fanatical. So they are so hyped up about the information that they believe in, that they actually become very close-minded. Because if anyone questions anything outside of what they are focusing on, then they get very defensive, even aggressive. That to me is an extremist, okay? Whereas on the opposite end, like when we were talking about being a free thinker is an open-minded person. That's how they became a free thinker in the first place, because they had an open mind to consider alternate possibilities to the mainstream media. So a free thinker is an open-minded person who is willing to consider alternate perspectives, and they aren't locked into one thing. They may believe certain things, but they're open-minded, and willing to, consider that there's more to the story. Even sometimes if it's their own beliefs, they would still consider, okay, well, there might be more, but this is what I'm feeling so far. So much different than an extremist, who is actually very close-minded and cult-like and fanatical and extreme. And those extremists are also the kind of people that will go on the attack really easily. Like they're happy to attack people that don't agree with them. So we've got all of these different kinds of people. On one end, we've got the people that will blindly accept absolutely everything that is told to them. If it's in the news or if it's in the media, it must be truth. They are just like an extremist. Also close-minded. Also not willing to consider anything that questions their belief structure. Get extremely defensive and go on the attack. The people on the furthest sides of the spectrum are the most similar and hate each other the most. Like, it's so silly, right? But they have the most in common. The truth is somewhere in the middle with the free thinkers. Not buying into what the mainstream media is saying exclusively. Not buying into the extreme end of something cult-like or also being pushed in a hard way for people to believe. The truth is in the middle. It's a little bit of, it's hard to discern, isn't it? So right now the truth is more hard than ever to figure out what is the truth when everyone has a different perspective that's true to them. And another big thing that's coming up right now is people saying, well, trust the science. You have to trust the science or follow the science. Okay. And this would probably pertain to COVID. So that is a new thing that was inserted into the narrative to make people again follow along easily. So on this end, where people like to just buy into anything that's told to them, so now they're all puppeting, trust the science, you have to trust the science. Okay, here's the confusing part. If you go searching online the science, you will find every perspective proven through some kind of scientific test, lab, experiment, research, whatever. Basically, whatever you want to prove is true, you can. You just go on the internet, search up what you want to see, and there'll be like all these tests, labs, and scientists telling you you're right, no matter what you put in. So how are you supposed to know in that case when there's so many contradictions? And not just with the follow the science, that is just all contradictions. Doctors, scientists, research experiments, lab testing. It doesn't matter. You say follow the science, but then you could still choose any perspective that you want because there's a science for every opinion. Like, it's so weird. And it's like all of this contradiction is also being introduced maybe for a reason. So with all of these contradictions, there's no way to prove anything anymore, or there's too many ways to prove everything. So what's the truth then? Like, truly, you have to feel for yourself what is true. Discernment could not be more important than it is nowadays. And there are so many narratives. There are so many communities. There are so many stories being told. I wrote down some of the big ones here, like the white hats, Q, which we talked about before, Hollywood, trafficking, politics, the elites, Bill Gates, the V, and censorship, which is huge. I mean, and you know what? That's like one of the undeniable ones because we've almost all of us have experienced it. When has anything like this ever been so censored before? Never before 2020 has the internet or social media censored free speech. Well, not in this, maybe not that we know of, but now it's blatantly obvious. Under the guise of keeping people protected from what? Alternate perspectives? Open-mindedness? Free thinkers? Yeah, exactly. Because they want, on that spectrum, they want you to just accept what they tell you is true, and if you question it, you will be punished. Right? So again, the truth is somewhere in the middle. And it's so confusing to know with all of these stories being spun. One of the ones that really was troubling and hard to ignore or deny that something weird was going on was the Wayfair scandal. Do you remember the Wayfair scandal? So that was when their large furniture that would arrive in a box to the client or customer was all being named after missing children. And there were so many uncanny experiences of this happening. Screenshots like crazy. Wayfair taking down all of these listings as fast as they possibly could before people could screenshot them. And then in the background of those pictures, like having like in the background of the pictures, there's usually a room and there would be like a bookshelf and books with the titles that had to do with human trafficking. Meanwhile, that's what people were saying was happening. That was a really big scandal that almost hit mainstream. It got so big that, I mean, people that normally don't even talk about stuff like that and aren't free thinkers were even talking about that. But how quickly did that get swept under the rug? Fast, right? So I'm just saying there's so much going on all the time. There are so many narratives, so many stories, so many conspiracies, so much corruption. I mean, human trafficking is absolutely real. Nobody can question that. And it's being hidden in plain sight in all of these ways. But it's really important not to get super fanatical about this kind of stuff and to remain balanced, because in that balance is where your discernment is. Because if you get pulled off in either direction, you lose your center and you will get lost in there. Keep your center, keep your neutrality, objectiveness about things, and think for yourself. Don't buy into either side. Think for yourself. You know, it's really important to do the research and to get all of the information so that you can come to your own conclusion. But I would also say that it's really important not to get lost in that rabbit hole either, because that will also bring down your vibration or your frequency to just constantly be, and we've all been there, myself included, you get trapped in it, you know, researching things, trying to figure out things, trying to put the pieces together, figure out what you believe, and it's a spiral downwards into depression and how bad the world really is, and it's really scary. And of course we don't want to create more of that, because whatever we are projecting as a frequency, I mean, we are literally always projecting a frequency out it is always creating new experiences for us. So the more you stay in that energy, the more you're going to feel that and have that come back to you. So do your research. It is important. And then come back out into the light for a while. And then go back in and do a little, and then come back out. Keep popping out of all of this to ground yourself, connect with source, bring light into your body and your system through meditation, bringing the white light down. All of that is really important right now. The truth is not in the mainstream media. It's not. It's not in the news. That doesn't make me a conspiracy theorist for saying that. The truth is not over here with what celebrities want us to tell by what they're showing us and saying and promoting and supporting. It's not with them. It's not with the politicians. It's not with the government. It's not with the news. And it's not with mainstream media and the things that are popping up to sway you. Like all of the ads that they are paying to show you. All of it. Facebook, Instagram, all of it. That's not the truth. But the truth is not over here with the extremists either. It really is somewhere in the middle. And it's so easy to, when you first awaken, to go all the way over here, right? When you first have your eyes and mind open to the fact that conspiracy theories, I don't know what else to call them, are real, you go all the way over and get lost in there for a while. Just so you know, that's totally normal. That's that rabbit hole and sinking into it. Come back a little bit into the middle somewhere, and you're going to find your truth. Everyone is going to have their own truth that resonates with them. Just know that a healthy truth is going to involve a little bit of both somewhere in the middle. So use your gifts. Feel what feels right for you. Almost all of you are empaths, which means that you have clairsentience, which means that you feel things and you're like a walking lie detector. I would trust that here. I would use that gift. Tune in to what's coming up. Like if you're on your phone and something's coming up, how does it make you feel? Is it making you feel like, what vibes is it giving you, right? Is it making you feel sick to your stomach? Is it making you doubt? Is it making you question? Use all of that. And the more that you practice that, the better you're going to get at understanding your truth meter, your lie detector. It's built in. Also, use your gifts of channeling. Like those of us that like to tap into our teams or source or other higher beings. When you're channeling, just make sure that you're setting up a sacred space so that misinformation can't enter in, and that you are calling in only what's for the highest good and the truth of humanity. And then trust what comes through. You are all really powerful channelers as well, sometimes without even realizing that's what you're doing. And that just means taking information from a higher realm and bringing it through you here on earth. Use that gift as well. And I mean, you have many gifts that you could use. Not just the clairsentience and the channeling, but you've got your claircognizance, which is clear knowing. That's your downloads. When you receive a download and you just know something to be true, that's claircognizance. And then there are those of us that also work with clairaudience and clairvoyance. This is the time to trust our gifts. They are more real than the illusion being formulated around us to make us think one thing or another. It's not real. Stay in your heart, stay in your soul, stay grounded into Gaia, keep yourself grounded, and also stay connected to Source. Those two anchors are really important to keep you in balance. So I visualize my root chakra stretching downwards and going all the way to the core of the planet, wrapping around the crystal core of Gaia. That anchors me in, keeps me grounded in my power, keeps me a strong manifester. And then my crown chakra spiraling upwards all the way to the heart of Source, where it is also anchored in. Those 2 points will keep you in alignment between your divinity and your humanity. And I know we've talked a lot about that in past videos. And I've even released, I believe on this channel, there's even a healing session where I help you to align in those two ways and anchor in. So just really use that. Use your anchors, use your gifts, stay balanced and grounded, stay open-minded. Be honest about how you're being, because if you're getting defensive about the things that you've read or believe, you're moving into a closed-minded state on either side. So if the center of the spectrum of this group of people of society, if in the center is open-mindedness, free thinkers who research and think for themselves, anytime you're getting into a closed-minded vibe, you're on one of the other sides, heading in the wrong direction. So if you're getting really defensive or aggressive or on the attack about anything, that's hard, isn't it? It is. Because I know a lot of you are really against the V and want to like kind of preach on it being evil or this or that. Careful, just be careful on either side, you know. And then there are others who believe that it is literally the savior of humanity and going to save us. Careful. Just don't get too close-minded on either end of that. And that's just one example. I mean, I named off all the other weird conspiracy theories going on right now. If you're going to get really defensive about something, you're shifting too far in one direction or the other. Come back to your center and realize that there is truth in all of it. There is. Because what is right for you is not necessarily right for someone else. Their truth might be different than yours. And a great video to highlight that is creating freedom, how to create freedom on this channel. And that talks all about how, or get off the main timeline. That's another great video for this. So I hope that that makes sense and that you can monitor yourself with that. And that open-mindedness is that center pillar. Stay there as close to it as you can and be willing to accept that your perspective isn't the only truth, even though it's true for you, but that other people are calling into them the experiences that are true to them and real for them. We're all on our own timelines. We're all in our own realities trying to live together, but yet experiencing very different realities, even very different rules to the matrix or to the world, depending on what your soul contracts are and what you're here to experience. Even with something as controversial as the V. There are souls that are here to experience different sides of that on both of those spectrums. And it doesn't make either one wrong. The truth is in the middle. And this is not the end of these kinds of global events and cover-ups. And everything that we've brought up today, there's more on the way. Like, we're not at the end of this. There is going to be more global events and cover-ups coming our way. And so it's more important than ever for us to get grounded and balanced with a clear mind and an open mind as a free thinker before it hits. I did talk about this in my full moon video, the July 23rd full moon video. I was talking about how what was coming through was that there was more on the way for humanity. Another big global event, another huge clash of these two sides and cover-ups and all of that. I don't know what the event is. It could be another wave of the COVID. It could be something completely different. It could be politically based. It could be about disclosure. I'm not even sure that it's decided yet, you know, when there's so many things up in the air when it comes to timelines and how they're created and how every decision changes something. But I do know that the energy space that we're in is going to create more of those scenarios, more of those experiences globally, like global. We're not experiencing news anymore as like one country. It's like global all the time now. What happens is affecting everyone. So this kind of energy is going to be continuing till about 2024 when we have that giant astrological event. You can Google it. It's already been named. It is the Great North American Eclipse. I've talked a little bit about that, I think, on this channel as well. It's coming our way and hitting on an election year. It's going to be a major influence for a timeline switch, which is beautiful, into a higher frequency. So I'm really looking forward to that in 2024. But up until that point, we are the way showers. We are the leaders. We need to exemplify for others what neutrality looks like, what oneness looks like, what a balanced free thinker looks like. And so really truly monitor yourself that you're not falling into these extreme ends of the spectrum, because that is that extremism only creates separation. And then there's the great divide and so much hatred between two big groups of people. We need more people here in the center. There's not enough people in the center. Everyone's choosing a side. We need to be the center. We need to show over here love and over here love. Can you do that? So that's a huge task, but I really hope that I opened up your mind about what a conspiracy theorist is, that spectrum, what a free thinker is, what's going on right now, and I really look forward to your comments on this one. But please, before you comment on this video, keep in mind where your comment falls. Really think about that, or you're probably going to get called out by people. If you're posting an extreme comment, you are not balanced and in the center, and that's where your power is. It's in oneness and in neutrality, and having an open perspective where you can see, that either side has good points and that everyone is doing their best, and you can show love to these souls and you can show love to these souls, and you can recognize them as your brothers and sisters, but you can hold steady in the center without telling people what to do and without being defensive or aggressive. Interesting, right? So I'm going to leave it there for now on this. Please remember that the membership is open. Amazing. Check it out. Click on the membership link just to read a little bit about what's included. It's been amazing. And also, there are so many services if you want to work one-on-one with me. Sign up and get a reading. There's so many good readings available. Past parallel lives, starseed origins, meet your guides, lots of readings available. So the complete cosmic reading, which is a bestseller. So check those out, and you can also check out the healing sessions. Thank you so much for liking this video, sharing it, and subscribing. And before you go, please remember, listen to your heart and the quiet voice within, because you are so much more than the body you are in. Thank you so much, beautiful star seeds. Have a great day. Bye.